Welcome back, everybody, to more Lord of the Rings Online. In the last episode, I started doing some quests here in Cliving. I was trying to solve a murder mystery, of all things, a murder mystery, and a few other things. So I'm going to continue, and I think I have to go talk to some possible suspects. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I also have to talk to Cephalad, somewhere here in town. So let me just ride around and go see if I can find anybody. Nobody out here. Alright, let me just go a little deeper in, I guess. Quest tracker is not really pointing me any place, so I'm just kind of riding around. No quest rings there. There's somebody near the mead hall, so I know I can at least go in that direction. There's a big area outside of it here. Let me see what I can find. Oh, I wonder where Cliving Jail. Interesting. Swiftthorn in his tent near the mead hall. Am I going crazy? I don't see a single quest ring here. All the way back there. There we go.
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
Captain J.R.R. told me of the circumstance involving Malbeort and my dagger. I understand your reason to suspect me, but I can assure you that I had nothing to do with this murder. My weapon was likely taken from me in order to draw suspicion towards me and away from the real killer. On the night that Malbeort's life was taken, I was patrolling the city perimeter with the other guards. Had I left to visit my home, my absence would have been very strongly noticed. I have been grieving the loss of my brother. Yet, as I have explained to J.R.R., I do not blame the Reeve for his death. I respect Athelward greatly, and I understand his decision must have been a difficult one. I am an honorable man, and these despicable crimes are below me. Alright, so if you remember, the apothecary guy was killed. There was a dagger near his body, and it turns out it was this guy's dagger. But it seems like he has an alibi, although he had a weak motive. So I don't know, I'm not feeling too good about that one. I don't think he's our man. Or woman, because we do have a female suspect as well. Just gonna follow the quest tracker here and see where it takes me. Taking me quite a ways out. I guess they might be up here on this tower. Yep.
I saw you coming to Cliving from afar, and I wondered what your story might be.
And now you have come to tell it to me. How wonderful. You tell Cephalad that you have come from her mother in Elthangles, and that Mildrith worries about her. My poor mother, I miss her. Some days I miss her terribly, but knowing that she is still at home eases the ache somewhat. Worse are the days when I miss my father and my brother, for they are never coming home. But I am as happy at Cliving as I can be. The Reeve is kind to me, if distant. I think he blames himself for all the grief my family has endured, and wants to make amends for it. I am treated well. Look at the view from the walls. There is just so much going on here, more than at Thangles. Yes, I am happy here. I hope my mother is not upset by that, but it is the truth. But tell her I miss her. Okay. So yeah, I guess there's a nice little view there. Just some plains. Nothing too exciting, but anyways. Let's go talk to some more suspects for murder mystery. So here's Wigfogel. If you remember, a witness saw him coming in and out of the apothecary looking quite angry and distraught in the hours leading up to the murder.
We keep safe these lands. For how long?
You suspect me of these rumored crimes? How shameful. Know that I am a respected elder in this community. I was visiting Melbart for treatment to the terrible nightmares I began having shortly after my son and his family lost their lives. His croft was raided and burned in the first orc assaults, and still Athelwald refused to defend those helpless families outside the city walls. It is true I harbor no love for the Reeve after such a heartless decision, yet I will not resort to poisoning him. Consider for a moment how a citizen such as myself would have access to the Reeve's kitchen. Surely someone would have noticed my unexpected presence there. That is very true. He has a good point, because if you remember, we did talk to the cook, and he said that, you know, strangers are not welcome in the kitchen. Sometimes soldiers come by and his assistant, but certainly not just a person from the town. So my initial suspicion was that the cook's assistant had something to do with it. I kind of talked a little bit about criminal psychology in the last episode, because I've been watching too much Forensic Files. But anyways, she's the only one left for us to speak to, so let me go find her. Yeah, she's like in the little corner here, kind of weird. I don't know, let's see.
What brings you to these lands?
I know that you're investigating me for the poison found in the kitchen and the murder of Melborot. Yes, I have heard rumors. I must explain my actions so that you understand why I am innocent in these matters. I have been taking care of the injured man you see before us, Freyston. He was wounded in battle and is greatly impaired. I care greatly for Freyston, though he knows it not, and I have been overseeing his aid through the medicinal herbs that Melborot has been providing for us. I have been here frequently tending to him, thus my absence from the kitchen. It is true that no one can account for my whereabouts when the crimes were committed, but know that I have no more reason to harm Athelward than anyone else in town. Furthermore, Malbiort has been helping me to treat Freyston, and I would never have wished harm to come upon him. You know, after talking with her, my suspicions are drastically lowered. I feel like her story seems reasonable. She seems, I don't know, doesn't look like a killer to me. Here's her alibi right there. Can't refute the evidence. I don't know. None of them are overtly suspicious, in my opinion. We need to do more investigating. Perhaps there is a fourth suspect, which we haven't even considered yet.
What brings you to these lands?
Each suspect has given a different reason why he or she should be absolved. Swithorn claims to have witnesses for when Melbiort was slain. Eldora seems to be lacking a motive to harm either the victim, and Wigfogul would like us to consider his lack of access to the restricted kitchen. The time draws near. Consider each testimony and all of the evidence discovered. Action must be taken before the others come to harm. We must apprehend a guilty party. Oh no. Is this one of those quests where I have to like make a decision, and depending on my decision it closes off other quests? I hope not. They'll stress me out. Oh no, yeah I do. I have to pick one. We must uncover the culprit of these crimes or more lives will be put in danger. I have to pick. Oh man. Okay, so let's kind of go through the scenarios here. So Eldora has access to the kitchen. So she could have certainly put the poison there. As I discussed in the previous episode, women are more likely to eliminate a target using things such as poison or something that would not put them in close proximity with the victim. Now, she would also have access to getting that poison because she was seeing the apothecary. So not only would she have access to the poison, but she would have access to the kitchen to put the poison there. So that's very compelling. Does she have a motive? Not really. She doesn't have a motive. Can she explain away these actions of her Yes, she can explain her absence from the kitchen because she claims she was tending to a wounded man, which we saw with our own eyes. And that would also give her reason to go to the apothecary. She seemed pretty reasonable in our interview of her, so what I'm trying to say here is that she certainly has the capability and the means to having committed these murders. However, she doesn't really seem like a likely suspect. Now, the other thing is she was treating a soldier, so that kind of implies some access to the other soldiers. So maybe she would be able to steal a dagger, the dagger that was used to commit the second murder. So that is very possible. Now, Swiththorn has an alibi. I wish I could actually go check out the alibi. He says he was on a patrol with guards, and I wish I could go talk with those guards to corroborate his alibi, but I don't think that's an option. Yes, his dagger was used for the murder, but he reported it stolen, which could have been done to cover his tracks. But it doesn't really make sense, right? If he was using his own dagger to murder a man, he wouldn't just leave it at the crime scene and then say, oh, hey, my dagger was stolen, knowing that it was going to be found. That doesn't make any sense, right? Just take the dagger back with you. So it seems very silly to me for him to be the suspect. In my opinion, he's the least likely of the three to be the killer. He has an alibi, allegedly, and it just doesn't make sense for him to use his own dagger, leave it at the crime scene, and then report it missing. That doesn't make sense. Next, we got Wigfogel, and Wigfogel, I don't know, he may be a wrongful party here because there was a witness that saw him running in and out of the apothecary in the days and hours leading up to the murder, looking quite distraught. He has a motive. He was upset at some of the peasants outside of the city walls being killed, and Atherdain doing nothing about it. Not Atherdain, Athelwald, sorry. So he has a motive. He was seen acting suspiciously near the hours of the murder, but when I interviewed him, he certainly explained his presence at the apothecary. He was able to explain it by saying that he was suffering from nightmares, which would explain why he's being so distraught and looks kind of disheveled, as presented by the witness. Now, the interesting thing with Wigfogel is that he would not have access to the kitchen. The cook himself said that only soldiers would sometimes go in there, and also the assistant. So, I mean, there's really no way that he could have gotten in there to place the poison without being noticed. Now, he also would have had to steal the dagger and all that, so I don't know. I want to kind of scratch him off the list. But this also brings up another point, because Swiththorn, as a soldier, according to the cook, may have had access to the kitchen. So it is very possible that he could have put the poison there. But he wasn't really hanging around the apothecary, so he may not have been able to get the poison, even though he may have been able to put it in its location. So really, you know, none of these are perfect suspects, but out of the three, I'm really kind of leaning towards Eldora. So I want to be fair to you guys. So I'm going to say that I am going to be clicking apprehending Eldora, because in my opinion, she's the most likely suspect. But before I do kind of want to check up on this quest and make sure it's not going to close off anything for me, depending on which choice I make. I just wanted to present my choice before I go look it up, so that way you guys don't accuse me of looking up the right answer or something like that. So I may be wrong, but I just gotta check that I'm not going to close off quests for myself depending on what I pick. So I'll be right back. Alright, my friends, so I did a little bit of reading, and indeed, unfortunately, you know, you can only pick one of these three, and each of these three quests is going to branch into its own separate quest later on. So I'm going to be missing out on a total of 4 quests, really, because there are a total of 6 quests that are going to go along with this, right? So each of these 3, and then each of the 3 that are going to be subsequent to these. So I'm going to be missing 4 of them, and there's really no way around it. What I will do whenever this happens in my playthrough is, at the end of the season, I'll go and artificially recreate the other 2 quests if I had done apprehending Swithorn, or if I had done apprehending Wigfogel. So I will artificially recreate these quests before the end of the season, but as I promised, I am going to go with apprehending Eldora.
Will you aid the Rohirrim?
So you believe Eldora to be the culprit. It is a shame to think that such a sweet girl could be responsible, but I understand your concerns. There were no witnesses to her whereabouts at the time of Malbiort's murder, and she had direct access to the kitchen where the poison phial was discovered. I trust your decision on this matter. I shall go now to apprehend Eldora. Let us reconvene inside the dungeon entrance, under the mead hall. So again, only one suspect can be apprehended for these crimes. Accepting and completing this quest will not allow you to apprehend Swithorn or Wigfogel. Okay, so now I have to go speak with him in the dungeon. But let me speak with a few other people along the way.
The Reeve sent you to me to help with our problems? Good.
We can refuse no offers of help. Cliving has been less affected than some of the other towns in this writing, but still there are orcs about, and we need to deal with them if we are to keep the people safe.
An important part of guard duty involves riding the bounds.
An important part of the guard duty my men undertake consists of riding the bounds of Cliving, looking for threats lurking too near the city. If you have a war steed and the skill to ride it, I would encourage you to help us with this duty, Kippen. Right east of Cliving until you see the marker that delineates the bounds, and then turn to the south. Continue this process, turning to your right at each marker until you have described a great loop around the city. Defeat any mounted enemies you encounter on this circuit, Kippen. You will be doing the people of Cliving a great service. Okay, let me go inside the jail here. Alright, we have apprehended a suspected criminal. May she have her day in court.
Will you aid the horse lords?
Despite your decision, I maintain my innocence, Kippen. Athelward will not allow a suspect to remain captive for long when no solid evidence can be gathered against them. Perhaps in time, Walnoth will see the error in this hasty decision, and the true culprit will be revealed. The truth will be my ally. I hope that Freyston is well cared for until this matter is sorted out. His injuries will need proper treatment. Now again, I know the arrest was a little hasty. Again, I wanted to check out some of the stories, like clear the alibi of the other guy. But we gotta play by the rules of the game, so anyways.
Will you aid the horse lords?
Eldora has admitted to nothing, but has come along quietly nonetheless. We will hold her here until more evidence can be gathered to either confirm her guilt or prove her innocence. Someone will be sent to take care of the injured soldier who was in her care. This is a most reasonable decision, Kippen. Eldora's lack of supporting witnesses and the access to the kitchen make her the most likely fit for these crimes. Her treacherous schemes will end here.
The Rohirrim will need your aid.
You have been a tremendous help, both to me and the people of Cliving. We all owe you a debt of gratitude for your fine service. Reeve Athelward has sent word that he would like to personally thank you for your assistance in these matters. Go with haste! The Reeve's time is precious, and it is rare for him to pay heed to visitors of your stature. Alright. I enjoy these choose-your-own-adventure type of quests, which make you decide on certain things and take the quest a different route. But it's an absolute nightmare for somebody like myself trying to do a 100 playthrough of the game, in which I can't do everything, because the game doesn't allow me to. That's why I do the artificial recreations when these things happen. I hope you guys can understand that and appreciate the effort that takes.
You have done well.
Kippen, you must be the wise hobbit I have heard so much about. I simply must thank you. I could not be more pleased with the results of the investigation. To think that a coward would threaten my life with poisons rather than face me with their grievances in person. It sickens me. We must put these matters behind us. For further turmoil yet lies ahead for me and my people. Receive this reward and please consider helping us further. Failed Assassin's Ring. That's some might and a little bit of agility. Need to upgrade my armor at the end of the season for sure. It's good agility on these legs here. But I still kind of like what I have better, so I'm just gonna
need you to
keep it
do
for now.
this.
You have already proven yourself capable of managing important and challenging tasks, so it is with confidence that I entrust you with an errand of utmost significance. My primary thought is always to keep safe the people of the Norcrofts, yet I have simply not the riders at my disposal to scour each corner and crevice of my land for the threat of the invading armies. I have given orders for my people to retreat into Cliving or to flee south to Edoras. Those within the city walls will be protected. Many of the crofters have either not received the call for evacuation or failed to realize the seriousness of the matter. Please write to them now and make certain that they understand the dangers remaining at their crofts.
I need you to do this.
We must give warning to travelers that the Norcrofts is no longer safe. I have asked for warning marks to be crafted so that they may be used to direct visitors west towards Edoras. I would ask that you display these warnings on posts along the road, as to keep others from wandering into dangerous territory. Ride along the road south and east of Cliving and display the warning markers upon the posts you encounter.
I need your help.
My riders have spoken with me about a section of the Norcrofts between Cliving and Elthangles that they have branded the red fields for the blood-stained grasses that have become an all-too common sight there. These plains are so dangerous due to the ever-present threat of mounted orc archers. Even the most seasoned rider can be struck with an unlucky or unexpected arrow and become mortally wounded. Clear as many of the mounted orc archers from this land as you can, and I will ensure that you are rewarded for your endeavors. Alright. So, lots of quests to do here. Very good. So I think I'm basically ready to head outside. Let me do just that, but let me get this quest here, whatever that is. What is... Huh. These raindrops are glitched. They're like falling on the sky, as you can see. Anyways.
The Rohirrim have need of your services.
Kippen, we meet again. We have been here for a few days, but have been unable to speak with Reeve Athelward. He has not refused to see us, as Ardor Harding, but has passed naught but excuses through his doorward. Perhaps he will once again speak on our behalf. An impending invasion by a horde of Kundalar Easterlings is no matter to be taken lightly. If you could, either convince Athelward to speak with us directly or relate our tale to him the best you may. Alright, let me go back in here and talk to him.
Thank you for your help.
Greetings. You have found your stay in Cliving a pleasant one, or at least eventful? Yes, I know of the riders of whom you speak. They are retainers of Lord Eomer. Had I known sooner, I would have greeted them with a warmer welcome. Let a feast be prepared, and let them come to my hall. I will give them a welcome they will not soon forget. Okay, so it looks like he will greet these riders.
You have done well.
A moment, Kippen. I must apologize for my abruptness to you in Harwick. I told you of my shame, but I did not speak of my pride. When I first came to Aldburg, I fell in love with Fleda, niece of Garthorn. We were soon married, and she bore me 2 daughters, Luflod and Wynneth. They have both grown into beautiful women, and they are my joy. Though Garthorn and the warriors of Aldburg forsook me, Fleda remained faithful. She is why I remained in Eomer's service. Lost though Fleda and Loflod remain faithful to me, young Wynneth has shamed me in my dishonor. It is for her that I seek redemption. My pardon for the interruption, but I thought it important to share this with you.
What brings you to these lands?
You relate Athelward's word to Bernoth, and then he pauses in thought. In truth, I am troubled, Kippen. You have said not to discourage me, but I find Athelward's response queer in these dark times. Does he truly seek to host a feast with a few ragged riders? Nay, this is troubling indeed. I must consider our best option.
Our success depends upon our strength. Will you aid us?
I cannot say why I am discomfited by the Reeve's demeanor, but his apparent lack of regard for impending invasion by the Cludonar disturbs me. I think it best we forego Athelward's gracious invitation. I think it best for my companions and I to leave as soon as possible. Tonight, preferably, and as secretly as possible. Will you aid us? Interesting. Alright, so I think it's a good stopping point. In the next episode, I will continue this quest, and then I will also do some of the other quests that I have on here. They're starting to pile up, so I'll see you on the next episode.